Okay, we've got to talk about Lou Elizondo's book, Imminent. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like many of you guys, I'm reading Eminent and I'm really loving it, really digging a lot of the juicy details that I didn't know before and exploring some of the stuff that I did know before in more depth. Really great stuff. And I'm going to give you some of the nuggets as I go through it and my thoughts on those nuggets. I'm about 70 way through the book right now. And there's a lot of things that have stood out to me, but this one really leapt out at me, and I haven't seen anybody else talking about it, so I wanted to talk about it, and that's the weird connection between the Rendlesham Forest case and Bob Lazar. Yeah, you wouldn't think there would be a Bob Lazar connection here, but there is, and there's some dots that we can connect. So let's go over what Lou has to say about Rendlesham Forest. I'm not going to read the whole excerpt, okay, so the incident happens, and there's a flash override protocol designed to give the president the ability to control nuclear weapons in the event of a surprise attack. That protocol I had never heard about before, and it locks down communications. And so what happens the next day? This is the key thing, and this is where it ties into Bob Lazar. After the event, it was reported by servicemen on the base that an identified private plane landed on a runway just outside the base, and that a group of men, said to be from a defense contractor, exited the plane and were driven onto the base. The same men were seen loading crates onto the plane before leaving for the U.S. Were they loading UFO materials? What were they loading onto the plane? The next day, the servicemen who were eyewitnesses were called to the base's office of the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Of course, right? You got to have the OSI. Some of the servicemen have since revealed what happened in that room. They were told never to speak about what they saw, and they were administered some sort of drug and hypnotized, presumably to distort their memories. The ones I personally spoke to said there was someone from the CIA in the room with the men from OSI. Years later, one of the servicemen saw a photo of a certain CIA official who had long worked on the UAP topic and claimed that CIA official was in the room the day after the event. Really interesting. So what's the connection to Bob Lazar? Well, because Bob Lazar was also given a drug, some sort of weird drink that he was made to drink, and hypnotized. I tried to find a video of him saying that, but I couldn't find it, quickly enough. So here's some quotes from Reddit. In 1993, he said, "My memory may have been tampered with. They made me drink a glass full of yellow liquid that smelled like pine. And it seems that they hypnotized me several times. I never found out why." In 1995, he was asked again by George Knapp about this. Do you think they messed with your memory, that stuff you drank? I mean, certainly they intimidated you, right? I don't think so, Bob says. I don't know if the technology existed back then. I don't know how much that technology exists today to selectively affect memories. But I never experienced any memory loss to any degree. Not that you know of, Bob, but indeed they probably wouldn't have hypnotized you and made you drink that drink if it didn't have some effect. And they were doing the same thing apparently to the people who witnessed the Rendlesham Forest incident. Probably the people that got up close and personal with that craft, they were probably the ones made to undergo hypnosis and given some sort of drug. Was it the same sort of drug that Bob Lazar was given? It's likely. If it wasn't exactly the same, it was probably in the same category and for the same purpose. So we have the same group of people, most likely, with the same, modus operandi, the hypnosis and the drug, that are trying to go to these witnesses and tampering with their memories. So there's a little doubt in my mind that this is the same group of people doing this. They have the same techniques and likely for the same reasons. They are trying to obviously tamper with the memories of witnesses to various events. Are they trying to make them forget these things? Are they adding in things to make their stories less believable? As some of the more fantastic elements of Rendlesham Forest, is that manipulated memories? Same with Bob Lazar, potentially, although there's nothing quite as fantastic in Bob's stories. What do you guys think was going on? It sounds more likely to me that it's to suppress some memories. Bob seems like he probably saw some beings there. He's talked about a couple of different instances where it seems like he saw a being. And if he saw a being once or twice, he probably saw beings more than once or twice, and maybe those memories were what was suppressed. So if they're suppressing memories about beings, is that what was suppressed among the Rendlesham Forest witnesses? What was going on there? I would love to know your theories on that in the comments below. Yeah, so there's some fascinating stuff in Eminent and some really interesting dots to connect. Another interesting dot to connect is Daniel Inouye. I know I'm butchering that name. Sorry, guys. He was one of the Congress people that helped form OSAP and later ATIP. And he's the same guy who said this back in 1987.
That of a secret government directed principally by NSC staffers accountable to not a single elected official, including apparently the president himself. A shadowy government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanism, and the ability to pursue its own ideas of the national interest, free from all checks and balances, and free from the law itself.
Now, he's talking about Iran-Contra and the shenanigans involved there, but might he also be talking about something else? I had seen his name in the small list of senators and congresspeople that signed OSAP into law, or who created OSAP, but it had never really registered for some reason until I read Lou's book. That's the great thing about repetition. You see it enough times, at least with me, and eventually it sinks in. Some of you guys, you can read it the first time and it's locked. For me, sometimes I have to beat it over my head a few times before I actually remember it. But yeah, so, that's one interesting dot to connect with Lou's book, is that this gentleman right here, whose name I can't pronounce, helped form OSAP, and he's also talking about back in the 80s, a secret shadowy government. And of course, we know that government does exist, and they did more than shenanigans in Iran-Contra. And it's very likely that he knows that or knew that as well. Otherwise, maybe he would not have been part of creating OSAP. And there's also some interesting changes in the book from the excerpts that I read for you guys. Remember the remote viewing incident where Lou and a team of remote viewers targeted a terrorist at Guantanamo Bay and tried to psychically compel him to confess or, reveal some stuff, right? Well, in the excerpt that I read from you, Guantanamo Bay was actually named, if I'm remembering correctly. And correct me if I'm wrong. But in the book, Guantanamo Bay is not named. They changed that. Lou just says a facility thousands of miles away. Later in the book, the name Guantanamo Bay is mentioned, and just saying that they've seen UFOs in that area. But that's an interesting change from the initial excerpts. I wonder what else has been changed. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the connection, or the possible connection, between the Rendlesham Forest incident and Bob Lazar. In both cases, mysterious government people tried to seemingly suppress or tamper with the memories of witnesses to anomalous events. So what exactly were they suppressing? Was it information about beings? I can totally understand if they wanted to suppress information about beings in Bob Lazar's case. You probably don't want people spreading the news that there are aliens running around Area 51, although that's widely reported in popular culture, in which case it makes me wonder about that landed craft in Rendlesham Forest. Did it land intentionally, and did beings emerge from it to do something that the people at that base knew about? Obviously, there was nuclear weapons being stored there. So did it have something to do with that? Interesting speculation. I would love some answers on that. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.